What is happening, everybody? This is Jon Denton and welcome to episode 8 of State of Play. On this week's episode, I talk about the time I was called out by a hip-hop gamer. As you may be aware, hip-hop gamer, an American YouTube gaming personality, like online guy, has been around for a long time. He's sort of back in the news, as it were, for calling out IGN for their Resident Evil 7 review, and a clip's gone round, and I'll put it in here, where he's seen sort of yelling at the reviewer and saying things.
If you call yourself a gamer and you don't get it, if you don't get this game and you call yourself a gamer, I'ma find you, son. Word up. Brooklyn style, shots fired.
The whole thing caused a big storm online, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But what's beautiful is I was sitting there trying to work out what am I going to do for an episode for the end of this week. I can't think of anything. I've not quite finished Resident Evil, so I don't feel comfortable talking at length about that. And then the glorious hip-hop gamer fell back into my lap. Now, back in 2013, I reviewed Dead Space 3 for videogame.com. A long time ago now. I gave the game 5 out of 10, and hip-hop gamer, just like he has now, decided to make a video calling me out.
It's a guy named Jon Denton. Jon Denton. He reviewed it, right? 5 out of 10. He says it's nice looking, good co-op ideas. Then he said, now listen, I can almost bet money that he didn't play this game. He said the game is amazingly boring and laborious, or whatever he said. Amazingly boring?
And quite frankly, it was one of the absolute highlights of my career. He used very similar language, called me out, shots fired, stuff, very aggressive, I guess. But at the same time, I took it for what it was. A buffoon, a dreadful video game critic, and a man seemingly incapable of understanding how websites work, calling me and putting me to task.
Any gamer that's a gamer, anybody that's a human, if you look at this game and you say it's, you not gonna say it's boring. You're just not. Like I can't. That's like saying Beyonce's ugly or something like that. No, there's no way impossible that this game is boring. If you feel this game is boring, I want you to show me the gameplay footage. You gotta show me. You gotta prove that to me. Ain't not one. You know what's so messed up? In the beginning of this game, it's so exciting and intense. You up here running down the snow and boring? Shot fire, you stupid!
Hilariously calling me anonymous, even though my name, Jon Denton, was written at the bottom of the review, and it actually had a picture of my face.
It's like you guys don't care about nothing but what y'all want. And then usually when y'all get what y'all say y'all want, y'all don't even want that and be bashing it. It's almost as if you guys are happy to be in the industry to try to critique or criticize somebody like you better than them. Well, I'm about to shut your whole joint down right now. So, Jon Denton, right? You push the button for Jon Denton, and activity feed, there's none. No recorded activity feed, right? Then you go to his info, and no birthday, only got one forum post. He joined February 9th, 2012, last seen online 13 months ago. Now, I understand if you want to be anonymous and all this other stuff, that's cool. But if you're anonymous, why have a picture of yourself on the thing? Because that I see a picture, unless that's anonymous too. And if you're going to be anonymous, you can't be a journalist.
I love it. We watched it again about a year ago with friends, and I was in tears with laughter. I think it's incredible. Even though he accuses me of not having played the game, it's quite clear he probably hasn't played the game more than an hour, as he freely admits in the Resident Evil piece and also in the Knack piece. It's quite common for him to do that. This is why I call the man he's a dreadful video game critic, even though I find him quite entertaining. So he calls me out for not having played the game. I finished the game.
But here's the shocking part. Jon Denton 22. It says Jon Denton, right? Then it says AKA Jon Denton 22. So I did a little searching to try to see if I could see if that was his actual gamer tag. And if it is his gamer tag, then he didn't play this game. Word.
And then goes into this bizarre rant about how my profile on the website doesn't have any information. Basically, to work for Videogamer, you had to just create a profile for their like database or forum or whatever. Stick like one generic post up so you're in the system. I mean, it's like quite a common thing. And so it says I've got no post history or any of that sort of stuff. But like, he's calling me anonymous. It's like my name, my picture, same as my Twitter handle. And so the argument actually came onto Twitter, and he called me out a little bit there, and he sent some of his boys after me. I can't quite remember exactly what happened. I'd love to be able to find their Twitter back and forth again. But one of his followers, he doesn't have many, despite the numbers, who came after me, said that I wasn't a quad A journalist, I think, which is a tremendous insult and one that I've been meaning to use myself. But overall, it was fucking hilarious to me. And the most hilarious thing is I'd actually had a Skype call with Hip Hop Gamer about 6 months prior, because I met him at a THQ event in America, and I just thought he was so weird that I had to speak to him and find out what his deal was. He had obviously forgotten all about that. So yeah, that was my experience being called out by Hip Hop Gamer. Shots fired, the boxing clip.
Shots fired!
He's going to come and find me, all that sort of stuff. None of that stuff happened. So that brings me on to this clip now. And I mean, yes, you look at that 15-second segment of it, and it's quite aggressive, especially compared to what we're used to in video games. But are we now living in a world where people think he's being serious? And I can't believe I'm defending this buffoon, because that's what he is. But the people, I mean, there's been a shitstorm on Twitter, and it's okay, it's just in the little UK gaming bubble, but there's been some back and forth. He's addressed it on his thing. I mean, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, it matters not. But at the same time, it allowed me to remember this hilarious moment in my own life. But the stuff that he's saying, do we really think he's going to try and find the reviewer from IGN? Do we really think that he's going to try and shoot someone or fight someone or come and get them Brooklyn style? No, it's just the way he speaks. Obviously. I mean, I can't stand this world that we live in now where we have to take everything literally. Some people are calling him unprofessional. He doesn't have a profession. He just makes videos about games. He's quite entertaining, but he's a buffoon. He's just a man trying to trade attention. His whole game is attention, like a lot of us, right? But his whole game more than anything. He freely admits that he played Resident Evil 7 for an hour, and he's slaying into someone who finished the game and did a job, and whatever the IGN reviewer thinks is what they think. But I know for a fact that a website like that is not going to let a review go live without a game the length of Resident Evil 7 being finished. It's not going to happen. They've got too much standing in the industry for too long, but we know that. Yet we're feeding this guy the attention that he needs. This is the most attention he's had in years, probably. So what do you think's going to happen next? Is he going to calm down and not do it again, or is he going to do it again if it's that upsetting to people? But do we really think that a guy like Hip Hop Gamer, you watch the whole video, it's about 15 minutes long, maybe even longer. He actually threatens to debate the reviewer at E3. That's actually what he does at the beginning of the video. That's his actual real threat, to debate somebody. So like I said, I can't believe I'm fucking defending the guy. I mean, he did the exact same thing to me, but can we just not pretend like this guy is actually being serious? Yeah, okay, it was shitty when he told his followers to go and harass the person on Twitter. Okay, that's a dick move. But the rest of it, I mean, like, he's just an idiot being an idiot, trying to get attention, getting it. I'm defending a buffoon here, but like, we're going to live in a world where if everything's taken literally the whole time, nobody's ever going to be able to say anything. It drives me fucking mad. So yeah, here I am defending Hip Hop Gamer, the man that threatened to shoot me. Come off it. I'd highly recommend going to watch the clip. If you're a follower and fan of my videos, I'd highly recommend. I've put it down in the links below to watch the whole clip of the Dead. It's called Dead Space 4 for some reason, which makes no fucking sense. The beginning of it is a fucking Oscar-worthy masterpiece where he's pretending to talk on the phone to EA.
Yo, EA, you there? Yo, what's going on, man? Check this out. I was just checking out this review, right? Cause I know you guys care about the Metacritic score, and yeah, exactly. Like, it should have been higher. I felt the same way, but I don't really follow Metacritic, but I know you guys is a business, so you gotta follow it. So that's cool. But Visceral Games, like, yo, you guys did a hell of a job with Dead Space 3. But I think there's something that messed you guys up, and I just want to share with you.
The way it cuts from his little face in the bottom, and then it cuts to the angle to the side, and he goes, I mean, it's a phenomenal piece of work. It really is. And it was just been a pleasure to be able to watch it again. So, yeah, I mean, if the person who reviewed the game was upset by that, then fair enough, and I hope they feel better. And I certainly hope they weren't harassed, because that I'm not defending that part, obviously. But given what happened to me, it was like 2 people and it was funny. But that's not really the point I'm trying to make. I think we know the point I'm trying to make. If we take everything like an idiot like that says literally, at worst, he's a bit of a bully. And do you know what my mum always used to say about bullies? Just ignore them. Okay, that brings me on briefly. Like I said, I haven't finished Resident Evil 7, so I'm not comfortable doing like a whole show of this. My original plan for this week was to do like a Resident Evil special and maybe do some like nostalgia stuff on the older games. But I haven't finished the game, so I don't feel comfortable talking about it. I think probably about halfway through, that's what it feels like. I must say that Capcom has done tremendous work in creating a game sort of built for PlayStation VR. I pretty much didn't think that it was possible for a game of this size and scale to work on VR. They've done amazing work, so much meticulous work on the controls so it doesn't make you feel sick. And trust me, you can switch the controls back to normal first-person controls and you will be vomiting within seconds. The incremental movement stuff, the walking speed, so much has been done to make it feel comfortable. And the game is clearly built in many parts for VR. Like a 3D movie, you know, when things come at you. There's plenty of stuff in Resident Evil where things are very, very, very close to the camera. And if you've been in VR, if you've been inside PlayStation VR, you'll know when somebody comes right up to your face, it is incredibly intense. I can't actually play the game in VR at night because I've got kids and I will scream. I screamed last time I played it, but I shout, ah! Like that. When something scary is literally that close to your face and the size, I mean, there's a massive downscale in resolution. The first bit looks dreadful. Once you're in a house, it picks up a bit. Apparently it runs better on the Pro as well. I don't have a Pro at the moment. But I really like what I've played of the game so far as well. Just a really like impressive reimagination of what the original game was about and the way you're sort of moving through an environment and it sort of gradually unlocks like this, so it becomes bigger and bigger. You're pushed through linear paths and then you can unlock a bit more, and the house sort of expands around you, very, very similar to the first and second game to a point, but definitely the first game. And some genuine scares, some quite creepy moments. And in VR, it's amplified 4 or 5 times. I'm not joking. It is an incredibly intense experience. And I would highly recommend it to anybody already. But again, I want to give fuller thoughts next week on the show and kind of twist it back into some other horror games and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the show for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I've been Jon Denton. If you like the idea of a show that goes into depth about the industry, about topics, about nostalgia, about retro, and about the beauty and art of video games, then please do think about subscribing to the channel. I've been Jon Denton. Like I said, this has been State of Play, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace!
And laborious.